We are really pleased today to have an amazing woman that I admire a lot because she is doing what we always do, have more women in positions that they can make a difference. Karma Ekmekji, you are really an amazing person that has lived the war in Lebanon. You are a mediator for peace at UN Women. You are also with the Islam Faris Foundation and with the American University of Beirut, doing things that have to do with the role of women in peace and mediation in general, but mostly for me, what I want you to talk about is what started with you to make you go into that?
Yes.
What made you feel that you need to do something for peace?
Well, first, Ambassador, thank you for having me. You have been a great role model to me, to many Lebanese women, and to Arab women, and in general. We've looked up to you for many years, and I'm very honored and pleased and humbled that you have hosted me here in Washington, D.C. in your embassy for this podcast. I'm a child of the Lebanese Civil War. Yeah, I grew up under the sounds of bombs, always in fear, not knowing if my parents are going to come back home from their jobs because of the shootings. And even though at this time many of my friends and family left Lebanon, my parents chose to stay. And I thank them every day for that decision because it made me who I am. It shaped me to become someone who believes in their country, who wants to do good for their country, for the people of my country. And it actually made me want to work in the field of mediation, conflict resolution, peace building, because now I have children of my own and I do not want them to experience what I experienced. So I felt that even though Lebanon today is one big mess, but we should never give up hope on trying to build bridges, on creating space for dialogue, and for helping people bring their points of view together. Because today we live in a world of war again, and this relapse, continuous relapse into war, is something that I don't want for my country. So this is what drove me to be in this field.
And you have an experience in politics because you are also advising president, former president the son, Saad, Hariri. I saw you there.
On international affairs, yes.
On international affairs, that's where we met, and I admired what you were doing, and also you're advising on international affairs, but with a focus on the women's side point of view, that is so important in Lebanon to have more women in those positions. What is it that you think are not contributing to have more women in the political arena in Lebanon?
Yes, there are a number of barriers. To start with, we live in a society that is where the patriarchy is deeply rooted, and for us to change that, there needs to be a whole cultural shift, and this takes time, right? And every step, every activity we do, every message we say will help in shaping this new culture whereby women are viewed as equal to men in politics. I'll tell you a story. I used to work with the Prime Minister, and every time I introduced myself, I would say, "Hi, I'm Karma Ekmekji. I'm the advisor of Prime Minister on international affairs and foreign policy." They would not hear that part. They would only see me as a woman, so they would assume that I'm the advisor for women issues. And they start asking me about the nationality law, about reproductive health, and things like that. And these are all important topics. I just don't know much about them, right? But for them, psychologically, because I'm a woman, there's only that job that I can do. I cannot do anything else. And so for me, that made me think. I started thinking, why am I perceived this way? What's that neuron in their head that we need to change or reprogram so that they see me as someone who can do any job?
Person.
Exactly, to start with. So in that sense, this idea of the barriers, this idea that women that's not their job, politics is not their job, and the fact that there is that sense of protection. If I'm a father, I want to protect my daughter from politics. If I'm a husband, I would protect my daughter, my wife, because dirty place, don't go there. Well, somebody has to clean it, right? If it's a dirty place. And so we need to get in there, and we need to create some measures that would help women enter, whether it is how the lists are formed in elections. We have elections coming up in
Exactly, I was
Lebanon.
going to go into that now.
Yeah, whether it is temporary special measures like the quota or something else, there needs to be some sort of way to advance the participation of women, and women need to become more confident about politics.
That's the point.
You know,
What is the missing point that women are, I would not say afraid, but it could be of what? Because the parents, they tell them, don't do it, it's a dirty place to go, afraid of that, or is it more of the comfort zone for us, for women? I mean, that's what I felt when I was in Lebanon. Maybe now it has changed, but it was easier to just accept what we are,
yes,
and be at home.
There was
is it changing now with the new generation?
Now I give you an example. In these elections, okay, I don't know if there will be big changes with the upcoming elections. It might produce the same parliament, it might produce a different parliament. But one thing is for sure, we have 110 women running.
Great.
And that is...
You are not running?
I am not running.
Why?
That's a different story. It has to do with our confessional system.
Oh.
I don't have a seat in parliament.
The religion. This is another
Yes. I'm a minority,
But that's something we have to change. So we have to change the religion.
That's why I like mediation. Because I have no agenda. I'm not someone who has an agenda in politics.
You're not the right to be president.
I'm not a Sunni to be prime minister. I'm not a Shia to be speaker. I can build the bridges.
It's like the truths. I'm a truths also.
So at least you have seats in parliament. I don't. I'm an Armenian Protestant.
That's right. That's right.
So again, this is another thing that made me realize I have a role to play.
Yeah.
No one's gonna look at me as a threat.
That's very true.
You know, I mean, of course, my ultimate dream is for us not to have a confessional system.
Yeah.
But with the current status quo, I
You
can
have
still
to
carve
accept
a role for myself. You know,
And you're making a big difference in
well,
everything you're doing.
listen,
Are you feeling satisfied? This is another thing.
I feel
What do you want? What do you want? What is your aim? Now that we're seeing another war that's going on in the world, where it is far away or close, it's the same because we're all interconnected with Russia and Ukraine. And when you see that there are not a single woman, there's not a single woman at the table of negotiations, what do you feel? I mean, that's why we're having this kind of wars still in the 21st century.
Yes, I tell you, all the studies, and here I'm going to be a bit technical, but it's important for our listeners to have an idea about all the research that has been done in the past 25, 30 years. All the research that has been done has shown that when women are part of the negotiations, are part of the mediation efforts, the peace, the agreement that results lasts longer.
Because it's a win-win, lose-lose.
Because also, you have the half of the society missing from the table.
Also,
you know, I mean, people tell me, you know, can you tell me what the argument is why women have to be on the table? I said, listen, there are a lot of arguments, but let's just start with the normative one, with the you know, the normal numbers. Okay, you have 50% of society that are women, and their whole fate is being decided by the men, and this is unfair. You know, and they should be part of the table, and they should also, because if we're not at the table, we're on the table. We need to be at the table. Otherwise, we're on the menu.
We're on the menu, but
we
don't have the table.
Exactly.
And they don't choose us.
No, exactly. And so, I look at Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
I mean, there is not a single woman on the table, and all the studies between the global studies that the UN has conducted between 2010 and 2017, all the wars that relapsed, so all the civil wars that restarted were wars that didn't have women at the table. And this is something, you know, we had a UN Women Lebanon had a great campaign last November. It was called The Missing Peace. And peace was written P-E-A-C-E. And what we did is that we worked with Twitter on that day. All the tweets had half the letters of the message, and so people couldn't understand the message. The cover of An-Nahar, which is the leading newspaper in Lebanon, the cover page, the front page, half the alphabet was missing, and people bought it, but they couldn't read the paper. and then you turn the page and it says when half of the society is missing, when half the letters of the alphabet are missing, nothing makes sense. You need the whole alphabet. So that's the missing piece. We are the missing piece, and unless we're plugged in and we plug ourselves in, again, we're not waiting for charity, you know?
Yeah.
We have to plug ourselves in, then everything will make sense. Until then, things will not make sense.
And you're seeing that it's getting better. People are realizing that the woman's peace.
Yeah. Listen, I tell my students who tell me, how can we be in peace building?
Yes.
How can we work in this field? How can we be part of this, Diplowomen community? Men and women. I mean, for me, Diplowomen are men and women because we need alliances. I'm not from the people who think,
Feminism,
I mean, no. I believe that feminism is equality between men and women, and men are our allies. They're going to help us get to where we want, and we have to build alliances. So I tell my students, I say, listen, this field, this career that you want to choose, it's not like having a shop or working in finance, or you go home at night, you open your Excel sheet and you say, today I made $500, or today I lost $300, I should work harder tomorrow. The work we do, I will die and then the impact will show. My children may feel the impact of our work. There's no way to measure it. This is why it's frustrating. This is why you have to wake up every morning and say, I need to motivate myself. What I'm doing has a purpose, because you don't see it immediately.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean? And even I feel like the work, I mean, all of us, in the work you do as an ambassador, you have to build your portfolio, bilateral relations, talk until you make, yes, we remove taxes, but how many years do we work to?
And everything is like that. Everything takes time and behind the scenes. And nothing comes in a silver tray. I always tell everybody that it's not about luck, it's about work. But you have to have passion. You have passion. You have to have a belief and passion for what you want. And not about getting into something. I mean, it's a journey.
Oh, yes.
It's not the end result. Of course, you know that this has to be the end result, but there's no end result because things are moving so quickly.
You cannot see that.
That you cannot see.
Yeah.
So the journey, you have to enjoy the journey. And even if you make small steps, be accepted. But the thing is that I am Lebanese also.
Yes.
I'm Arab, but I'm also from Ecuador. And when I see the difference of how much we have advanced in the women issues in Ecuador, and I don't see it in Lebanon, it's frustrating. So that's why when they ask me, why don't you go back? I said, the thing is that when I go back, I don't see that there is this change, that at least you see that it has hope that it will be better. Every time it's getting worse.
Yes.
We don't have to blame it on others. I used to go and they would say, oh, the American, el haq al American, the reason is the European, the reason is France, the reason is Saudi Arabia. It's the reason of Lebanese.
I know, we victimize ourselves the whole day.
Country, you have to get together.
I agree.
You have to we used to be, when I arrived to Lebanon in the late 60s, it was a paradise. 17 or 18 different religions living together in harmony. It was an example to the world, a small country of 10,500 square kilometers. They were going, it was, you could go to a beach and to make snow in the same day. And people were so happy. Still, they are, I'm not saying, but this last time, it's changing. And it's the worst time I've seen Lebanon.
Indeed.
So it's a necessity and a must that more women get involved to make a difference. I'm happy to hear that they are going to the elections, 110 women. That's fantastic. Hopefully they will win. The last time they did something, but they didn't.
I agree.
So let's hope this time the people have this wake-up call after the suffering. You have to suffer and suffer and suffer to see the importance of peace and security and prosperity and having a job and having to want to serve your children for eat, but also to think of the future of them, like you are doing for your children. That's why the majority are leaving Lebanon. And we don't want to have that. We want to have them stay in Lebanon like your parents did, so that you could be what you are doing. That's what my husband never wanted to leave, and I was there, and my children were there. The same thing as yours. My children didn't see anything of the beautiful Lebanon except bombs. So that's why I was asking the issue of what's going on in the world. Disease, the pandemic. I thought it was a wake-up call for other things. And then, now we're having again this war that nobody believes about, invasion, about destruction, about maybe becoming a third world war with nuclear. I mean, where are we? We have to be there. You accept a woman that will put the bomb, or will make a bomb, or will do a nuclear to kill?
I mean, if we can just spend a few seconds talking about this nuclear issue.
Yeah.
There is this incredible woman, and I urge everyone to follow her on Twitter, on Instagram, and to read about her work. Her name is Beatrice Finn. Beatrice Finn is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Her organization, ICANN, won the Nobel Peace Prize, I believe it's 2018 or 2017, I'm not very sure, but recently. And her whole work is to get countries to sign the nuclear ban treaty.
Oh,
okay? And right now, she has been continuously saying this idea that nuclear weapons are created for deterrence and that they're going to prevent a war. Today, we are seeing that this is not the reality. Unless we remove nuclear weapons from everyone's hands, this is not going to be a deterrent. On the contrary, it's going to prompt war. Look what's happening now, like you said. So this woman, for instance, it's a woman. I believe it's a woman.
Beatrice Finn.
Yes, I believe it's a woman, and I believe that look, let's be realistic. Women are not the magic potion that are going to solve every problem in the world, right? I'm not delusional to say that if the minute you add women, everything is going to be fine. No, but women bring a different perspective. Women have the ability to have a participatory approach to problems. We've seen this happen. We saw it in COVID. Half the world leaders who were women had better situations in their countries. They have a way to be more participatory, consultative. There's a certain level of emotional intelligence that they bring, strategic empathy, they bring it to the table. And so, when you have these women, and here Beatrice is playing a very important role on this question of nuclear weapons, how to deal with it, let's talk more about it. She's someone who is raising the alarms, right? And her and her organization, and with an amazing group of people. But I don't see a man who is doing that anywhere in the world right now. And so, it's a contest, right? Let's say who has the biggest car, not to say something else. But really, it's this contest.
It's true. It's power. It's who has the more nuclear, so we can control.
Exactly.
It's about control.
And then what happens? Who bears the brunt of conflict? Women. Women have been shown to carry the brunt of the conflict that is happening, while not having a say in it.
And the young generation that's coming out with all this technology and all this thing moving so quickly, they are forgetting that they have to be part of it because they're disappointed with politicians.
Yes.
So instead of getting into politics to make this, they don't want to go anymore. I had here at the embassy yesterday students from different universities that came, and that was the issue. They would like to, but they don't want to get dirty, as you said. They don't want to. It's let the politicians do it. If we don't get to make the differences by changing the laws and doing the thing that you have to do, you have to be there. Otherwise, you cannot make it. Whether you are an artist or whatever you want to be, and you have passion for it. But if you are not in the place where you can change what's happening, it's only in politics.
Absolutely.
Of the law, the law of the Congress and the Senate. The Americans are talking about the United States, and are talking about all the world. You cannot be part of the change if you are not part of the political.
But to go back to Lebanon, you were telling me how are things not changing? The situation of women is so bad in Lebanon. Look, I always put things into perspective. Lebanon is a country that's 80 years old. Okay, with one war after the other, and except for that brief period in the 60s. Even 58.
When I was there.
Even when you were there, come back. Your face is good luck. You have to come back. Even in 58 we had problems in
68. That was when it started the war.
So really, I feel like Lebanon is still a young country. The U.S. had its first female vice president 270 plus years later. There's a lot of work to be done in Lebanon. It gives me hope. France has never had a female president. Other countries, you look at them and you have 22 heads of states in the world that are women, or 24, I think, max. You know, and we have 193 countries, and so
no, it takes time. It takes time. When I first came here, we were only, when I was here ambassador before, we were only 3 women ambassadors in the whole Washington. Then it started to be 12, and now I'm coming back and I'm 36.
But
so it's moving, but it's not bad.
I always give the example of the Lebanese ambassadors. You know, they make me proud. I feel like they give a different image of our country. We have 20 female ambassadors in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You know, it's more than some European countries have in their foreign ministries. And they're hardworking women. They, despite all the challenges that they are facing right now, they are still working hard to show that Lebanon has a positive, something positive to offer.
Diplomacy is very good.
Exactly.
And this is what you have. You have also something in diplomacy and women.
Yeah, Diplowomen. So the Diplowomen initiative, actually, it came about because I wanted the young generation to start understanding what women, peace and security is all about. And when I say Diplowomen, it's not only women in, I mean, I have an Instagram filter that tells you which Diplowoman you are. You can play with it. It's a fun game for our listeners. But it basically says that a Diplowoman can be an ambassador, a special envoy, a mediator, a facilitator, a negotiator, a peace builder, a peacekeeper, an academic, a journalist, anyone who is a minister, a member of parliament, a secretary general, anyone who is trying to say that I build bridges, I'm a woman, I can help you solve a crisis, I'm a conflict resolver and a peace builder, is someone that is a Diplowoman.
She starts at home. When she wakes up in the morning,
Of
the woman
course.
is the thermometer there. She wakes up upset, then the whole house. You have children, and you know that you have to negotiate every day and be a negotiator and a diplomatic person to, you know, to have the house in order.
Yeah, I tell you a story. I had a friend in COVID, you know, and she doesn't work in this field. I mean, she doesn't work actually. She has 3 kids. And she always asks, what do you do? What do you do? I try to explain to her. She doesn't always get it. You're always busy. You're always working. In COVID, she calls me one day. She says, Karma, I cannot take it anymore. Every kid is in one room. My husband is in the kitchen to close the door. I'm sitting in the living room. We're all fighting with each other. We cannot talk. I mean, we're going to kill each other. It's finished. Like,
She's a mediator.
And I said, listen, you can solve this problem. She said, what am I going to do? I said, listen, think about it. You'll figure it out. A few days later, she called me. She said, guess what I did? I said, what? I said, I brought everyone to the living room. So I told her, so a neutral territory. Nobody's bedroom, nobody's office. She said, yes. I said, and then I told every one of them, you have to say what's in your heart. We have one house to live in. We can't get out. It's COVID. You have to live together here. I said, so a bit like a country where we are all citizens and we don't have another country, so we need to live together. She said, yeah. I mean, she's still not registering. And then I said, I told them all to talk to each other. I said, we have no other house to live in. This is where we have to stay. We have to live together. We love each other a la base, and we need to figure this out. So I said, so you're a mediator. You're a Diplowoman. She said, that's what you do. So, you know, in a very simple way, you said it. You wake up in the morning and she's a mediator. You start, first of all, we start with the conflicts within ourselves. Before we go to the conflicts with others, so you build peace with yourself, you build peace in your home, you build peace on your street, your community, your town, your city, your country, between your neighbors and in the world, and that's where it starts. And so each one of us is an agent of peace. We just have to find it in us.
And we have to put the peace.
Yes, the pieces together.
The piece that's missing.
Yes.
Karma, thank you. You are amazing.
No,
thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure to have you.
My pleasure and honor.
I know that you're going to make a big difference. And the peace that is missing in Lebanon, I see it now. Really, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you.